Hey, GratuiTous here from itsgratuitous.com. In this video, I want to talk about how I've set up the Fruity Parametric EQ2 with my M Audio Oxygen Pro FL Studio template for this hands-on mixing and drum pad workflow experience, okay? So with the Fruity Parametric EQ open, how this works is the first four knobs are for the second band, and then the next four are for band 6. So how this works is the first one is band 2, okay? And you can go left and right and up and down. And what actually makes this really, really powerful is the Fruity Parametric EQ2 by itself. If you click and hold with your mouse, you cannot use the scroll wheel. And I really think that Image Line should improve this, because let's just load up the Pro Q3 here. And if I open up an EQ, you can see I can use my scroll wheel as I'm going. And this is such a nice workflow thing instead of having to stop, use your scroll wheel. But if you use hands-on mixing, you can actually do two things at once. Okay, so how this works is the first knob is band 2, and it goes left and right. And then again, band 2, it does up and down. The next band is how wide it is. And then the next one is the steepness of it. Okay, so let's just increase that a little bit. The next four is for band 6, and I chose band 6 just because it's further away. Now, one thing that I thought when I first started, like years and years ago, is that a different band would give you a different sound. And it's, that's not how an EQ works. How it works is we have our low frequencies, our high and our high frequencies. It doesn't matter what band you take. You can take 4 and put it over here or over here. It's boosting the low end, it's boosting the high end. It doesn't matter if it's 4 or if it's 5, okay? Now, if you go to the next bank, this one does 4. So if you want to do another band in there, but again, the problem with the Oxygen Pro, because it has absolute encoders, absolute knobs, it has a fixed beginning and end. So when you switch between banks, sometimes there's kind of a little dead spot until you reach the value, and it kind of really messes with that workflow for the hands-on. So in my opinion, I would say just stick to bank 1. That way you can adjust your second band and your 6th band here and kind of tweak your sound whatever you want. And then if you really want, you can come here to 4 and you can adjust it the way you want. But as you can see, it's just a little bit tricky when you get hands-on. So when we go to the other bank, now it has to get to that actual value before it kicks in. So for example, let's say we max out band 2. Okay, it's maxed. I'm going to go to the next bank, and this knob is good. It should be doing band 4, but I can't control the volume until it reaches the value, which is about in the middle. And as soon as I reach it, now it's going to work. Then I come back here to bank 1, and it's not going to work until I reach the maximum value. Then I can bring it down. So what I'm trying to say is, let's go back to default. I would say just stick with band 2 and band 6. So you can do your thing. You can tighten it up, right? You can adjust how aggressive you want it to be. Same thing here. Here is 6, whatever you want to do. Now, this is what's really powerful with this hands-on drum pad workflow. We can save the state, and then let's say you want to do something a little bit different, like you want to do something funky like that. You can flip in between those for an A and B comparison, and this slider actually does volume, like a master volume. So this one is before and this one's after. And as you can see, we have turned down the volume, hopefully to kind of compensate for our boost. That way, when we're going in between our EQ, we can kind of hear a fair volume comparison. Now, unfortunately, the Parametric EQ2 does not have an actual on and off button built into the plugin. This off and on is actually built into the slot here. And so if we turn it off and on, you can see that's what it's churning. It's not actually churning off this plugin, it's churning off the slot. And so when we go to something like the Pro Q3, you can see that we can actually churn this plugin off and on from the slider right here. I would really like to see FL Studio implement an off and on into their actual plugins so we can turn them off and on from like a button on our MIDI keyboard. Because for example, let's say we put this onto slot 5. So watch, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to delete the plugin, but what you're going to see is it's still off. So if I linked this, my button would simply turn this off and on. It doesn't turn off and on the plugin, if that makes sense. So you can kind of get this experience where if you're mixing with hands-on, you can save it, you can flip, you can get your hands on a bit, you can churn up and down your master volume to compensate. So in other words, if you do boosting, you're going to bring it down. If you are doing cuts, you might want to increase that volume so that when you flip between the states, your ears can kind of hear a more accurate volume. But again, we can't turn off the plugin like you can on the FabFilter plugins. Okay, so anyways, so that is how I have set up the Parametric EQ2 for you here in FL Studio based off of my M Audio Oxygen Pro FL Studio template. You know, you can adjust your stuff, you can go up and down, but if you do have the FabFilter plugins, you will get my experience, and I've had a really, really awesome experience with FabFilter over my years of using them, okay? So if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email at hi@itsgratuitous.com, and I hope you enjoy this M Audio Oxygen Pro FL Studio template, which can be purchased at itsgratuitous.com.